This is a memorial to the dead.
So, was this all you're doing?
It is.
Are you Old Nick?
Old Nick? You mean Satan?
Yes. Old Nick released his demons unto the world of man. And the world of man fell before the demons.
With crime rates soaring, lawmakers voted for mercy. By acting as judge, jury, and executioner, mercy keeps our city safe.
I shouldn't be here. I helped create the Mercy program. I'm proud to have sent the first suspect for trial here, and I will continue to send more until the message is received.
Detective Raven, I know precisely who you are. You're before this court today and charged with the murder of your wife.
Oh my God.
Your guilt must fall below the 92% threshold, or you will be executed in precisely 90 minutes.
It has begun. Welcome everybody to the 21st season of Talking About the Movies. For the past 20 years, I've been covering the biggest new releases of the weekend, and here we are beginning my 21st year of that with the first two releases of 2026 to be reviewed. We're going to take a look at this weekend's big new release, Mercy, but before we do that, there was a big new release that came out last weekend that I did not get to see last weekend, and I did see it today. Let's talk about 28 years later, The Bone Temple. So this was the film that was shot back-to-back with last summer's 28 Years Later. That one was directed by Danny Boyle. This is directed by Nia DaCosta, who directed Candyman and also The Marvels, which I thought both of those movies were pretty good. But this is a story that continues on from 28 years later, where you have Spike, now inducted into Jimmy Crystal's gang on the mainland, and Dr. Kelson, played by Ray Fiennes, makes a discovery that could alter the entire world. So like I said, this is a continuation from last year's 28 Years Later, which that film was good, until it was ruined by the third act, and it ended up making nearly making my worst of the year list. Had it not been for the three films released in December, it probably would have been in there, because yeah, I enjoyed the first two-thirds of 28 Years Later, but that third act really ruined the ebb and flow of the movie. And I said that if this next film coming up at least ties it back in and makes it somewhat worth it in the end, I'd be willing to look back at 28 years later and say, okay, maybe you were leading into something more important than I initially thought. And I'll say this is definitely a lot better than 28 Years Later. In fact, I would say that after watching this, I'm going back to 28 Years Later, I can say that I will give it a little bit more of a grace period because they do a little bit more of a appreciation towards it. Not to say it's still not to say it's a movie that I would recommend. I still think it's not as good as it really could have been, especially with Danny Boyle behind the scenes. But The Bone Temple, I think, really does fix a lot of those problems that were in the original 28 Years Later and makes it work here. And I think it's mostly because of the people that are really into these roles in here. Ray Fiennes, who once again gives a fantastic performance. I mean, the guy commands the room anytime he's in a movie in general, and he's great to watch as Dr. Ian Kelson in here, and Jack O'Connell playing Jimmy Crystal, who, you know, it's a person who, you know, if you've ever heard the story of Jimmy Savile, it's a history in I believe this is in London, right? Yeah, in London. You know, he was this is a guy that was a beloved personality, and when I did this in 28 Years Later, I was really kind of conflicted on how I felt about it. I didn't think they really handled it all that well. But now, having seen this movie and having watched that movie again, it does connect a little bit better. Does it make it great? No, not really. It's still kind of a movie where there are still a lot of notable flaws to it, but nevertheless, this is still definitely better than the last movie. If I had to rank this between the other 28 later movies, I'd probably say this is right there in the third spot. Like 28 Years Later would be the bottom, then The Bone Temple, and then 28 Weeks Later, and then 28 Days Later. I think this is still a really good movie overall. I think the casting overall is really good. Ray Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, Alfie Williams, Aaron Kellyman, and Shia Lewis Perry, I think, really do a good job in this. And I do like the fact that it does kind of set the tone for the third part of this trilogy that they're supposedly doing here, with Cillian Murphy coming back into that film in particular. I think if they do that film, that they're going to have Cillian Murphy coming back in, which I think they are doing now. I think it is a film that could actually tie the series together very well and make this overall new series of films worth it in the end. I think it's something where it does leave a lot of hope for that if this next movie that they make turns out to be pretty good, it can make the flaws of the first movie kind of better in comparison, because it shows you where they were leading up to here with this last film. Assuming that it actually gets made, which I think they are going to do it at some point, even though the film has not been performing very well here in the States, but it is a movie from overseas, so here's the hoping that it could actually get done overall. So, yeah, overall, I would say that, yeah, it's a good movie. Not a great movie, though. I think it's a movie that still has a lot of flaws to it, but nevertheless, I enjoyed it a lot. I think it is a better film than the last film. I would recommend it. I'd give it a thumbs up overall. Not a movie you're going to remember overall in terms of the best movies of the year, but at least it's a better movie than what we got with the last movie. At least this one is a complete film that doesn't feel like it's pulling the rug out of you like 28 Years Later did. But again, it does tie in with the story from 28 Years Later better, so it does make it kind of a little bit better, but still not a great movie overall. But I would still say it's a good film overall. I would recommend it a thumbs up, so take that for what you will. Alright, so let's not even go to a commercial break here. Let's go to our last movie that we have here. And this one, yeah, we definitely need to talk about this one here because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 24 days into 2026, or 25, depending on when you're watching this, which most of you will be watching this tomorrow. I'm recording this on Saturday night. But 24 or 25 days into 2026, we have our first recipient for a possible spot in the worst movies of 2026. Let's take a look at Mercy. Believe me, Mercy is what you're going to be asking for the minute you get out of this movie, because holy mother of God, they took a premise that could have been very, very intriguing and completely just butcher it in the worst possible ways that we haven't seen done since last year's The Electric State, which coincidentally has one of the stars of this movie in it. Chris Pratt plays a detective in the near future who stands on trial accused of murdering his wife. He has 90 minutes to prove his innocence to the advanced AI judge played by Rebecca Ferguson he once championed before it determines his fate. So on paper, that's a premise that sounds like it could be really, really intriguing. Something that could be very, very interesting. A very interesting idea of a guy, of a police officer being accused of something by an AI judge. I think that's something that could lead to a very intriguing concept overall, and it has a decent director behind it. Timur Bekmambetov, who did the Night Watch movies, he did Wanted, he's done a lot of other movies that we talked about here, not just here and also on the other channel as well. So this guy has this thing had a chance to really go somewhere, and Chris Pratt can be a very good action star. We've seen it before, in stuff like the Tomorrow War, and even with the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and all the stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And, yeah, there's a possibility for something good here, but unfortunately, like I said before, this is a movie that is trying to talk about the dangers of artificial intelligence from a movie that literally feels like it was literally written by artificial intelligence, right down to the message of the movie about how, artificial intelligence is dangerous. Like, it's literally like what was with The Electric State. It feels like a message that was tacked on by ChatGPT, aka artificial intelligence, and it doesn't help that you're sitting there for over 90 minutes watching Chris Pratt sitting in a seat watching a screen with Rebecca Ferguson as a judge, basically accusing him of killing his wife. It's like the equivalent of literally watching a movie in a theater, which is what you were doing and I was doing while watching this movie. So it's just like theaterception, except theaterception kind of fucking sucks in this case here. It's just like what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing with this idea here? It's just like, what's the point of this whole thing? I mean, Minority Report did this so well 20, close to 25 years ago now. 2026 came out in 2002. But yeah, it's just like they did this 25 years ago, except Minority Report did it better because you were convinced that you really got invested in Tom Cruise's character in that movie. B, the technology they were working with there was actually pretty intriguing. And C, you weren't just sitting in a room watching an AI judge shun you for 90 minutes. And just like, on top of that, the whole thing about the 90 minutes thing, it's supposed to be a real-time thriller, which, okay, it's something that could be done. I mean, there's been movies that have tried to do that before and failed miserably at it, like 88 Minutes is a prime example of that. This Al Pacino movie from 2008 where, a killer calls Al Pacino and says, you have 88 minutes to live. And it's just like, the runtime is like 88 minutes from that point forward. It's just like, okay, that could be very kind of intriguing overall, and then they really don't do anything with it with a lame twist here. And yes, the twist in this movie is pretty fucking lame as well, and again, it's literally you sitting in a room with Chris Pratt watching the most boring ass thing ever. It's like you're literally watching an AI version of Court TV or C-SPAN or Fox News whenever they go to a court hearing. It's just like, yeah, a court hearing may sound intriguing depending on what you're looking at, but when you really come down to it all, you're literally just watching people in a room for 2 to 3 hours just talking about stuff that you don't want to hear, that you don't really feel like you're going to get much out of. It's just like, get to the point already. Like Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, have a point. It makes things so much more interesting for the listener and for the watcher too in this case. But, and again, this is another one of those movies where they're really trying to push Rebecca Ferguson to be kind of this antagonist in the movie where she really fails at it. I don't think she's a bad actress overall, but ever since she broke out with Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, they've been trying so hard to push her to be like this next big potential woman who could play villainous roles, and she isn't doing a good job at it. I mean, this is somebody who, I mean, I always think back to like stuff like The Snowman or The Greatest Showman, where they try to make her so much like the villain in the part that she's playing, and she's just failing miserably at it. And here, and The Girl on the Train is another one of those examples of that, but here, it's another example of that, trying to make this woman seem like she's the main threat here, and she is not threatening at all. Her performance does not scream out a vengeful threat whatsoever. It's nothing but watching it's like literally watching a plank of wood trying to act. That's how bad it is with her in this. Like, she is not trying to be intimidating whatsoever. And like, if this was a real judge in real life, I mean, you could easily figure out a way to get around her if you were in the middle of a courtroom battle. But it's just like, I don't know if you want to do that, but at the same time, what I'm trying to say is that she's not threatening at all. Like, she is not an intimidating threat whatsoever. But then again, she's an AI judge, and knowing how much AI slop is out there, it really shouldn't be that much of a shock at all. This is a very flawed system that they have here. The flawed system they have here doesn't even make a whole lot of sense whatsoever. It's just like, this is one of the stupidest movies I have ever seen in my life. This is absolutely terrible. This is a god-awful movie that had so much potential to it going into it. And it's another one of those movies made by people who have no idea what the hell they're even talking about. It's a movie that feels like it's trying to tell you about the dangers of AI, while AI is literally the one that's writing the script for you. It's a terrible, terrible film. It's a film that makes no sense whatsoever. It's sloppy. It's poorly executed. It's a lame film. It's a lousy, lousy film. It is easily one of the year's worst movies. And we're not even 24 days into 2026. And this is a film that is currently locking itself up possibly for a #1 spot on the worst of the year list. And that's hoping that the rest of the year isn't going to be as bad as it is right now, which it definitely will. I don't even know why the hell I'm even trying to deny it. It's good. We're going to get more bad movies on this list here. And who knows? This one probably will get pushed out overall, but it's just a terrible movie, man. It's a terrible, terrible film. Avoid it like the plague. Mercy. You'll be asking for mercy after you're done watching this movie. So yeah, needless to say, thumbs way down on this one. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the first 2 new releases of 2026. Like 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. I was not a fan of Mercy, though. But with all that said, though, thanks for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe button, notification button. And next week, we take a look at Sam Raimi's first new film in a long time. Not really a long time, but it's his first film since Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. More of a film that's on the same vein as Drag Me to Hell, which I've been hearing really word of mouth, but this is very similar to Drag Me to Hell, which I really like that movie, so I'm looking forward to that. Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien in Send Help, which trailers for this look pretty good, so I'm definitely looking forward to checking out this one. Hopefully this one will definitely live up to the hype and more, but we'll take a look at Send Help next week. So if you want to see what I have to say about the Oscar nominations this week, take a look at the video over here. Check out the previous episodes as well, and I will see you guys next week. So until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.